Well, hello everyone. We're back with another podcast, whatever you call them. We have a very, very good friend of mine, Tony Yardley. And Tony, just tell everybody who you are, how you started, and
well,
your
okay.
life story.
Let's do this. I was born in Missouri, in a little bitty town about the size of Munford, called Portisville, Missouri. And I lived there till I was 3. And then I moved to Illinois, Peoria, Illinois, and I lived there till I was 11. But while I was there in Peoria, I went to grade school with a, do you know who Dan Fogelberg is?
I don't.
Dan Fogelberg was a big star
Okay.
in the 70s and the 80s. Big acoustic music,
Okay.
real big, had a lot of hit songs. And I went to grade school with him.
Wow.
And in fact, this picture right back here, the one of the black and white one of the 3 boys right there, the one in the middle is Dan Fogelberg.
Okay.
And I tried to get back in touch with him after he became famous, but I could never get through to him. And then he died of cancer years ago. But I really wish I could have talked to him, because we were so young that when I knew him, neither one of us cared anything about music. And while I lived in Peoria, which was like 64 when we moved away from Peoria, but that year, the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show, which was a variety show that came on the weekends. It was they had music and they had jugglers and dancers and singers and all kinds of stuff. But it was a very popular TV show, and they were on, and the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, just like 1,000 other boys my age, it changed everything for me. I saw them on there, and I saw all them girls screaming, and I thought, I want to do that. And so, but when we moved to Fargo, North Dakota, up there where the ice and the snow is, and I lived there for 6 years, and I went to high school there, and that's where I learned. That's really where I learned to be a musician. And we moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we didn't even live there a year. We moved there in the winter, in like January or February of '71, and then that October we moved down here to Anniston, Alabama on my birthday, October 23rd. And I remember the week after we moved down here, Dwayne Allman of the Allman Brothers got killed on a motorcycle. And the first thing I had to do when I moved down here was have back surgery. I had problems with my back, and I'm 19 years old. But I had to have surgery. And I moved down here, and of course I moved from up north down here, and it was culture shock. Pure culture shock, because people all talk like this right there. I couldn't hardly understand anybody, and so I didn't like it when I moved down here because I didn't know anybody. And the first thing I did was I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. First thing when I moved down here. Then once I got up and around, I started to go to school at JSU, made a bunch of friends, and all of a sudden I thought, well, this is not such a bad place after all. Right. And now you couldn't get me to move away from here for nothing. I love it here. But anyway, I've been a musician. I got my degree in graphic art, actually art, but specializing in graphic art. And I was a graphic artist for about 15 years. I designed T-shirts and brochures and all kinds of stuff. And I still dabble in it and do a little freelance work every now and then. But I also wanted to be a rock star, and that didn't pan out because as soon as I got out of, as soon as I graduated from JSU in 1975, got my BS in art. no music classes. And but when I got out, I became a musician. I started playing in mostly bars and restaurants and like that around here. And so I've been playing steady for about 50 years. And I've been teaching. I started teaching to make money so I could buy new guitars and amplifiers, stuff like that. I started teaching to make extra money. And the more I was teaching, the more students I had. And all of a sudden, the graphic art thing kind of became a second to the teaching, because I was making more money teaching than I was doing anything else.
Right, okay.
I had a ton of students. At one time, I had like 60 students.
And I was one of them.
Yeah. And, but over the past few years, I've noticed that guitar lessons, like I do it, you know, me sit here, you sit there, and I teach you how to play.
Yep, yep.
That's kind of dwindled down to not much, because
really,
and it's because of the computers, because of online teaching. They have that new teaching software or two programs on YouTube. There's one by Fender called Musician that's out that teaches you how to play, and people just do that instead of coming down here and me teaching them, which is really sad, because you really do need to have a teacher one-on-one. I don't teach groups. I just teach me and one student, because I want to concentrate on what they know how to do and what they can do and what they can't.
Right.
And there's so many things that you can learn having a teacher. Instant feedback, for one thing. You know, you ask a question and I answer it. Right. Whereas with that software on the computer, you know, you just have to pick it up the best you can. Some of those programs are pretty good, and some of them are a little. All right. Anyway, I've been teaching forever. I still like to play live. I've got a little group called the Connections, and we play out every now and then. And of course, not now with the coronavirus thing going on. Nobody's playing anywhere. But another thing that I do is I like to record. I've got a little recording studio at home, and I have got 3 CDs out. I wish I'd hold them up and show them to you, but I don't have any of them down here. But my first one was called Surface Tension. It's all instrumental. And it's a mixture of acoustic and electric music. And then the second one I did was called Cottonwood Lullaby, and there's the little thing, promotional thing over there on the wall. Cottonwood Lullaby, and it's about my family and my life, and it's instrumental acoustic music, acoustic guitar. And then, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I did a Christmas CD with some of my friends, and I had a ball doing it. And it was just old Christmas songs and hymns that I've redone with a different feel. You know, some of them are the traditional old Christmas songs, like "Oh Come All Ye Faithful," you know, those songs like that. Right. And then "Here Comes Santa Claus," "Here Comes Santa," that kind of, you know, the kids songs. So I did that CD with some friends, and it turned out great. Those people played great. Right now, I'm right in the middle of doing a CD of the songs that I've written. Now, all the stuff that I've done, except for the Christmas CD, it's all music that I've written. Awesome. It's all music that I've written. It's all my music. And this new CD is songs that I've written that have lyrics. Now, I'm not all that good a singer, and I'm going to sing 1 or 2 of them on it, but mostly I've got friends that I played in bands with all over from Birmingham to Atlanta that I'm going to beg, borrow, and steal, get them to come over to the house and sing some of my songs. And I'm probably going to break it into 2 CDs, because I'm going to record about 20, 25 songs, and so I'm going to probably put it on 2 CDs. Well, I know I'm going to put it on 2 CDs.
Excellent.
And that's probably going to be the last that I do. I'm not going to say never say never, but my hands are getting to where I can't play like I used to. My arthritis is getting bad, and there's a lot of things that I used to be able to do that I can't do anymore. But I'm 67 years old, and I'm disabled. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and but I've had a real good life playing, and I'm sad, but I'm okay with it. I'm all right with it. And I'm not going to be able to play too much longer. I'm not going to be able to. My hands are not going to let me do it. I've got a Martin, that's a Martin guitar, an expensive Martin guitar that I bought when I was 19 years old, down on Noble Street at Forbes Piano Company when I was 19 years old. And that's an old guitar. It was the last year they made it with a Brazilian rosewood, and then because then they declared a moratorium on Brazilian rosewood, you couldn't use it anymore. And I've been offered an awful lot of money for that guitar, but I'm going to give that guitar to my grandson when I can't play anymore. Actually, I'm going to give it to my granddaughter, and she's going to let my grandson have it when he gets old enough. Because I give it to him now, he'll beat it to toothpicks.
Gosh, no.
That's my grandson over there in those pictures right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. His name's Preston. And I've got a new granddaughter. And her name is Sarah Grace, and she was born with a lot of problems. She wasn't breathing when she was born. And they got her back, and she's doing pretty good. She's a fighter. And she's had a tough go of it, but she is the prettiest little girl. And I can't wait till I can be around her more. But like I say, with this virus thing, they live over in Birmingham, and I think we've been over there once since this virus thing started. But I need to stay. I was telling you earlier, I have to stay in the house. I'm
right.
down here and teach lessons down here, but I don't go out at all because if with the medicine that I take for my rheumatoid arthritis, if it lowers my immune system real low, and if I were to catch this virus, it would be a dangerous situation for me. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to kill me, but it might. I mean, I'm a fighter too. I'll give it my best shot. But the best thing for me to do is not catch it.
Right.
So I don't go out. I don't shake hands with nobody. I don't. I was wearing a mask down here. I've got a mask down here that I can put on, but I found that the first week when I started teaching again down here, that the first week with that mask on, I'm sitting there going, okay, now the next thing we're going to do, they can't hear me and I can't hear them. So I just say, look, you sit back and I'll sit back, and we won't touch each other and we'll be fine. And so I come down here to teach, and this is the only place I go. Also, I have to go to, I'm on dialysis now. My kidneys had failed, and I'm on dialysis. I have to go 3 times a week. And so I do that, and I come down here, and then I sit at home and record music and play on my iPad and watch television, just like everybody else.
Hey, that's good life though.
Yeah, but I've been. John treats me really well down here. This is Chevalier Productions, is where I'm teaching. And it's down here on G Street in Noble, just off between Layton and Quintard. And 204, is it? 204? I should know that by now. I don't have the address on here. You think I would? Sorry, John. I'm not a very good salesman. But anybody that a little for John, I'll say this. If you're a musician, if you guitar player, drummer, bass player, singer, this is the place to go in Anniston now. Guitar strings, we got anything you need. If we don't have it, we can get it for you.
That's right, yep.
And sales staff down here is great. We do we do repairs down here on guitars and amplifiers. And, we don't do band equipment down here. Band equipment you have to go to Gadsden for. Although we do sell like reeds and mouthpieces and accessories for horn players, all kinds of drum accessories. So if you're a musician and you're looking for a place to buy your accessories, and we carry guitars and amplifiers, and come on down here, and if you need something, and we'll help you. Like I say, the sales staff down here, Josh and April, will be glad to help you. And Mike Irwin does the repair down here for now. Just come on down, we'll fix you up.
And you mentioned that you write songs. Would you mind playing a couple of your originals?
I'll play, yeah, okay. Let's see. Gosh, it's been so long since I played some of these. I may kind of stumble through them.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
I have a niece. Her name is Haley. And Haley was born with spina bifida. And she can't walk, of course. And would you jump up and close that door?
Yeah.
Let's see. It's just been so long. Wow. I'm not even going to try to go any further on that one. Okay, let's try that. Let's see. First one was an old church hymn that called "Great View from Heaven." But that last one, with the faster part that I played part of, is a song called "Counterclockwise" that I wrote, and I dedicated it to one of my favorite guitar players, a fellow by the name of Leo Kottke, famous acoustic guitar player. Really inspired by his playing.
All right. Well,
so I can't do it like I used to, but I can still play a little bit. And if you, by the way, I'll go ahead and do me a little.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I was just about to say that.
A little advertising for me.
Absolutely.
I teach. If you have children that you want to take, that people ask me all the time, how young?
Come on, man.
How young can you go? And there's really no set answer for that. And it's because kids mature at different speeds. At different. I know some kids that come in here that are 8 years old that are more mature than some that come in here that are 15 years old. So it's not how old you are; it's how mature you are. Now, some kids, if you bring a kid in here that's 6 years old, their attention span is going to be about like that. And what you have to do is you have to get the parent to come in here and sit in the chair with them. Now, they don't have to learn to play, but they need to learn what the lesson is, so when they go home, they can get onto them and make them practice and focus on what they need to focus on. Other than that, I'd probably say about 8 years old, 7, 8, maybe 9. It's about as really young, right in there. It's about as young as I would go. If they show a musical aptitude, then wait till they get that old, and then bring them down here. And I love to teach kids. I really love to teach children because they are so excited about it. And when they learn something new, you can almost see that light bulb going on over their head. They go, oh yeah, that's great. I want to do that. That's cool. But I teach, and I will teach them to read. I write my own books. I should say book. I've got one done. The second one is about halfway done, and it's been about halfway done for 3 or 4 years now. And it's just I get sidetracked. But I want to do a total of 4 books. I want to do a book. This one is done. It's called The Guitar Basics, teaching you how to from knowing nothing to where you can play pretty good. And the second one's going to be a little more advanced. The Guitar Basics 1 and Guitar Basics 2. And then I'm going to do 2 other books. One is going to be on finger picking, like I just did a minute ago. And then the other one on electric guitar, playing blues. I want to do a book about blues. And that's my goal, is to get those done. But that's not going to stop me from teaching you coming in how to learn how to do this. Because I know, just please come on down here. You can call me at my phone. I'll give you my phone number. I don't care. It's area code 256-473-3883. You can call me. If I don't answer, just leave a message, and we'll sign you up. Right now, I'm only teaching on Tuesdays and Wednesdays in the evenings. From they're 30-minute lessons, and you pay a month in advance, $25 a lesson. And I can teach you how to read music. But if you already know how to play and you want to learn some new styles, some new licks, if you want to learn some new stuff, I can do that too. So it's really kind of up to you how you want to do this. If you're young, if you're a parent bringing your child in here, then do them a favor and let me teach them to read music, because it makes so much more sense to them. If you know, when you're learning by put your finger here and put your finger here and put your finger, and you learn this certain set of chords, you need to know why you're doing that, and you learn why by learning out of the book. And so, like I say, $25 a lesson, 30-minute lesson, month in advance, private lesson, me and you, no group, because people learn at different speeds, and the whole idea of this is for you to have fun doing this. It's supposed to be fun. And if it's not fun, then sell that guitar and go do something else. Paint pictures or paint houses, or do whatever you want to do. But if you want to learn music, the goal here, the only goal here, is to have fun. And he said, well, I'm not very good. I don't learn very fast. I'm going to give you two examples of students. One was a young man named Will Owsley. He took lessons from me, and when he was 11 years old, it's been years ago, but Will Owsley became fairly famous. Tragically, he died young, but he first time out of the chute, the first album he made, he was nominated for a Grammy Award. He didn't win, but he was nominated, and that kid was a genius, musical genius. And people come in and says, "Did you teach Will Owsley everything he knows how to do?" No, not hardly. Most of his guitar lesson, and look, he was 11 years old. Most of his guitar lesson was, "Will, would you please sit down?" Because he was so excited, and and he was. But let me tell you, the reason I use him for an example, because he was a slow learner. He learned slow, but he wanted to do it so bad he did not give up. So it doesn't make a difference how fast you learn, because we're not under any kind of time constraint here. You don't have to, like, well, you've got till August to learn this much material, and then you have to go on to the next grade. No. How long does it take? It takes as long as it takes, as long as you're having fun doing it. And my other example is there's a guy out right now that's tearing up the country charts. His name is Riley Green, from Jacksonville, and he's had a couple of #1 songs in the country. He's a star. He's a country star. I went to college with his mother, and that's why I know him, because he took guitar lessons from me when he was probably about 10 years old, 9, 10 years old, and he was this mousy little kid that was so quiet. And when I asked him, yes, no, yes sir, no sir, but he's not that way now. And Riley's become famous, and he's still a very good friend of mine, and I'm so proud for him that he's done this. And I told him, I said, now, when you step up on that platform to receive your first Grammy Award, you better mention your guitar teacher back in Anniston, because if you don't, I'm gonna come looking for you. So that's it. I've turned some. I had one kid that took lessons from me. I won't say his name, but it took lessons from me. I took him from knowing absolutely nothing about music. We went through 3 books. I got as many as 4 as we can do. We went with 3 books, and then we just started learning beyond that. But he started, once he kind of caught the gist of it. It was bam, 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 bam. And the next thing, now he's going to school in Birmingham, majoring in music, and I hear that he is about to transfer down to the University of Miami. They have a jazz school down there that is one of the best jazz schools in the country. That in Berkeley, and there's out in Texas, one of the colleges out there has got a killer music department. But anyway, I'm gonna have to shut this down, because I got my next student coming in. And David, I appreciate you coming in here. I enjoyed this. It's fun talking to you. Yes, David's one of my former students that did very well. And so if you're interested in guitar lessons, come see me.
Absolutely.
While you still can. I'm an old man. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. So, thanks for coming. I'd shake your hand.